The place, Paris, France. The date, July 14, 1789. The occasion, the storming of the Bastille. On the morning of July 14, Paris was in a state of alarm. Food shortages and high prices for bread and wine had created widespread hunger and desperation among the lower classes. Political tensions between King Louis XVI and the newly formed National Assembly that represent the interests of the common people of the Third Estate were at an all-time high. Rampant rumors that members of the Assembly were about to be arrested were fueled even more when royal troops were deployed in and around Paris. On July 11, Louis had fired popular finance minister Jacques Necker, who was seen as an advocate for the common people, and July 12 public demonstrations against his firing had resulted in a cavalry attack on the crowd. Now, on this morning, public anger was at a boiling point, and cries of revolution were in the air. An early morning crowd had already successfully stormed the Hotel des Invalides, gathering nearly 30,000 muskets with little opposition. But the gunpowder and shot to go with them had been moved to the Bastille. The Bastille, garrisoned medieval fortress and prison, symbol of royal tyranny, became the crowd's next target. By mid-morning, nearly 1,000 Parisians had gathered outside the Bastille shouting for the removal of the cannons and the release of weapons and gunpowder stored inside. Military Governor Bernard René Jourdan de Launay invited 3 representatives to enter the prison for negotiations. As negotiations dragged on, the crowd became impatient. Around 1:30 p.m., they surged into the undefended outer courtyard. A small group climbed onto the roof of a building next to the gate to the fortress's inner courtyard and broke the chains on the drawbridge. The crowd rushed in. A gunfire began, and mob rule took over. Attempts to organize a ceasefire were ignored and the fighting continued. And then, around 3 p.m., fate, in the form of mutinous French guards, stepped in. They joined the crowd using 2 of their cannons to bombard the Bastille. Equally important, a substantial force of Royal Army troops encamped just 7 kilometers away on the Champ de Mars did not intervene. With the possibility of mutual carnage becoming readily apparent, de Launay ordered the garrison to cease fire at 5 p.m. But with limited food stocks and no water supply, de Launay surrendered and opened the gates. The crowd swept in to take over the fortress at 5:30 p.m., gaining the weapons and gunpowder and freeing the 7 prisoners inside. 98 attackers and 1 defender had died in the actual fighting or subsequently from wounds. De Launay was seized and killed, his head put on a pike. The French Revolution had begun.